From a humble background as a flight attendant, Sara Netanyahu quickly became one of the most talked about women in Israel. Her rise to prominence wasn't due to any major career achievements, but rather her unexpected marriage to Benjamin Netanyahu, the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history. What started as a simple relationship on a flight turned into one of the most powerful unions in Israeli politics. But what really made Sara stand out wasn't just her role as the First Lady, it was the way she began to quietly take control behind the scenes. In the early days of their marriage, no one could have predicted the level of influence Sara would gain. Her sudden presence in Netanyahu's life quickly raised eyebrows. Despite having no major political career or connections, she began to make herself known in political circles. Some even claim that her role wasn't just as a supportive wife, but as someone with much more power than the public realized. While Benjamin was busy with his political career, Sara was becoming a force in her own right, shaping not just their personal life, but the way the country viewed its leaders. Soon, whispers about Sara's growing influence spread far and wide. People began to question whether she was simply the supportive wife or the hidden force pulling strings in the background. Reports started to circulate, suggesting that Sara's role in politics wasn't as passive as everyone had once thought. And what was even more shocking was the claim that even Benjamin Netanyahu himself feared the power his wife seemed to hold over him. It seemed like Sara Netanyahu wasn't just the First Lady, she was becoming the most powerful woman in Israel. Sara Netanyahu's name has been tied to more than just politics. Over the years, a string of scandals has kept her in the spotlight, but not always in a favorable light. One of the most shocking incidents occurred in 2019 during an official visit to Ukraine. The event seemed innocent enough, a traditional bread and salt ceremony to welcome Benjamin and Sara. But Sara's actions during the ceremony would leave many in disbelief. While Benjamin ate the bread as part of the tradition, Sara took hers and threw it on the ground. The world watched as the video spread like wildfire, with many seeing it as a major insult to Ukrainian culture. The backlash was immediate and harsh. Despite the outrage, Benjamin quickly defended his wife, claiming it was a misunderstanding and that Sara didn't intend to offend anyone. But the damage was done. People across Israel and beyond couldn't forget the image of the First Lady tossing bread on the ground. This wasn't just an isolated incident, it became a symbol of Sara's controversial presence and her apparent disconnect from public expectations. Many began to view her as a figure who didn't fully grasp the responsibilities that came with her role, and the public opinion of her only grew more divided. This scandal, along with others, helped cement Sara Netanyahu's reputation as a woman whose actions seemed to stir more controversy than support. Over time, she became a lightning rod for criticism, not just for her behavior, but for the way her actions seemed to overshadow her husband's political achievements. From the bread incident to accusations of spending state funds on lavish meals and expensive items, it was clear that Sara Netanyahu's influence on Israel's public life was as divisive as it was powerful. While the public may have been focused on Sara Netanyahu's scandals and controversies, there was another side to her story, one that was far less visible but just as shocking. Behind closed doors, rumors circulated that Sara held more power in Israeli politics than anyone realized. Many insiders claimed that Sara didn't just stand by her husband's side as a supportive spouse, she actively shaped decisions that impacted Israel's future. It wasn't just about controlling the household, it was about controlling the political agenda. Some even argued that she had more influence than Benjamin himself. The idea that Sara had so much control over her husband's decisions started to take root in the media. According to political insiders, Sara would often intervene in meetings, manage schedules, and even dictate who had access to the prime minister. Allegedly, if someone wanted to speak with Benjamin Netanyahu, they first had to gain Sara's approval. The question arose, was she simply being protective, or was she truly the one calling the shots in the Netanyahu household and beyond? Her influence seemed to extend far beyond what a typical First Lady would have. What's even more unsettling is the idea that Benjamin Netanyahu himself may have been at the mercy of his wife's decisions. Some reports even suggest that he would hide in the bathroom to make phone calls with people Sara didn't approve of. The couple's relationship became more complicated, and many believed that the power dynamics between Sara and Benjamin had shifted. It wasn't just about love anymore, it was about power. And that made Sara Netanyahu an even more formidable and controversial figure in Israel. Sara Netanyahu's lavish lifestyle has been another point of controversy that added fuel to the fire surrounding her public image. While her husband, Benjamin Netanyahu, faced political scrutiny, Sara found herself in the spotlight for a different reason: her extravagant spending habits. The Israeli public was shocked to learn that she had spent large amounts of state funds on personal luxuries, including expensive meals and high-end shopping, despite the fact that the official residence already had a full-time chef. Reports showed that Sara's spending wasn't just a matter of a few extravagant purchases, it was about using state money to cover personal tastes. One of the most infamous cases involved Sara's excessive spending on hairdressers and stylists. In just 2 years, she reportedly spent $45,000, 3 times the official limit for personal expenses. This wasn't just a minor violation, it sparked outrage across the country, with many questioning her priorities. While many people were struggling, Sara's obsession with luxury seemed tone-deaf to the needs of everyday Israelis. It was as if the disconnect between the public and the First Lady had never been clearer. But the controversy didn't stop there. Sara also came under fire for not following laws that required her to hand over gifts received during official visits. Instead, she allegedly kept expensive items for herself, further cementing her image as a figure who seemed to live in a world completely removed from the realities that ordinary people faced. These scandals didn't just tarnish her reputation, they also fueled the narrative that Sara Netanyahu was more concerned with her own comfort and image than with the responsibilities tied to her role as the First Lady. As shocking as Sara Netanyahu's story has been, it's clear that there are still many layers to uncover. From her rise to power to the scandals that followed her every move, Sara's influence on both her husband and Israeli politics has been as controversial as it is powerful. Despite the public outrage and criticism, she has remained a figure of immense control and influence. But will her power continue to shape the future of Israeli politics, or is this just the beginning of a much bigger story? As the dust settles on her many scandals, one thing is certain: Sara Netanyahu's legacy is far from over.